Hi, my name is Helen Anderson. I am a lifelong Wilmingtonian. I'm the daughter of the late William Hicks Anderson. I'm a community activist, a mother, just an all-around, fully invested Wilmington resident. I don't think that there's a cost that we should be associating at this point in my purview. Because when people think about cost of education, they want to talk about what does it cost for the educator? What does it cost to run these schools and the buildings, and all of that stuff is important, but it's not the important thing. Our most important factor is children. And we know that right now what's been happening, the cost has been greater than just children being failed. It has been failed children becoming adults who are unable to get livable wage jobs. And so when we factor in the cost of failed children, we need to factor in the cost of the fact that there's no affordable housing right now. The fact that if I cannot get a livable wage job, I need someone to help me put food on my table, someone to put shelter over me and my children's head. So when we think about cost, the offense that I have when I hear people say it is that we care more about cost than we do actually about what it really takes to live in this society, especially in Delaware right now, where we know and we don't have anything that looks like affordable housing. Even our voucher system is becoming almost unaffordable for some people to even get to. They don't even have access to it. So the cost is too great. The cost of poor education is too great for us to focus on cost. So we really need to focus on what will happen if we have a thriving educational system. Can we get new business entities to come in here and invest in our children and invest in our school system? So the cost to me is probably the least factor of what we need it to be. I think that so many people they want to know how we're going to fund this and how we're going to fund that. We find the money to fund everything that we want in this state particular, in this country for sure, but definitely in this state, we find money to fund the things that we think are important. And if we don't think our youngest citizens are the most important people to fund in the greatest way that we need to do it, then shame on us. And that would be why we are 47 out of 50 in education in this country. For me, when I'm thinking about redistricting, it's about the governance. It's about who will make the decision, the day-to-day decisions for our children. It's about the school board, the superintendent, the district office, the administration, all of those people who are governing what happens on a daily basis in the educational system. That's redistricting. And a huge part of that is who is in charge. And so somebody has to be in charge. And one of the things that I continue to say when we're looking at this is that no one can serve four gods. No one can have two masters. And when we look at right now what is happening in the city of Wilmington, our children go to 4 different school districts, which means 4 different governing bodies, 4 different superintendents, 4 different ways, 4 different rules, 4 different structures, 4 different ways that we do things. So with redistricting, we're looking at a way to bring that under one roof, one umbrella, one accountability factor, one governing board, one superintendent, one person or one entity that will be accountable to all of Wilmington. So what's happening for children in education in the city of Wilmington and statewide is nothing, actually. If you ask me, from a parent perspective, from an advocate perspective, there might be good pockets of things that are happening. Our children might be served by some educators who are doing amazing things. But while you might have 1 or 2 that are doing amazing things, you might have 10 that are not. And so our children are being left behind because we're not teaching competitively. We're not being innovative in the way that we're handling things. We have rigid systems that don't allow for autonomy amongst building leaders, autonomy amongst teacher leaders. And so and then the other important part is that we're forgetting that children are the center of it. And so we're not listening to them. We're not asking them the questions. We're assuming what they cannot do. We have not given our children the ability to have a seat at the table to talk about what education looks like. So I think not just in the city of Wilmington, because it's really bad in the city of Wilmington, but across Newcastle County in the state of Delaware, clearly based on just the fact that our numbers show we are not growing and we're not increasing in any significant way. We're staying very stagnant, and that stagnation is at the bottom. Clearly, nothing is happening that makes education look like we prioritize it right now. So in Wilmington's education, children are being failed. by a system that has been so broken and almost criminalized in how we do. We don't have certified educators sitting in classrooms. We don't provide the proper resources, even though funds have been given. The resources are not actually making it into the buildings. We use excuses for why we don't have the specialists that are needed or the resources that are needed. Instead of trying to find ways to solve the problem, we just point the finger at it. We sit and admire the problem. We are in this state when it comes to education. We talk more about the problem than we do to try to solve the problem. We do a lot of talking and no action. And for me, this option of what we're trying to do right now is a great action towards the next best steps for saving our children in their educational system. Why it is important for adults who are raising children to be involved. It is important for every person in the state of Delaware to be involved in this conversation, because what happens in education and what happens in our children will impact what happens 20 years from now, 40 years from now. It will determine if Delaware is a success. Do we become whatever? I remember growing up and people would say, like, where's Delaware? Is that Philadelphia? I almost feel like that's what we're going to become. We're supposed to be the first state, which means for me, when you're first, you need to be able to be innovative. You need to be able to think outside the box and do some different things. And I think it's really important for adults currently, they start setting up tables and setting up places for us to have realistic conversation about what we see. I was talking to a group of adults recently and I said, what was your educational experience like? And in that room, you've had people that had great experiences and loved it. And then people who were like, it was trash and I just don't care. So those same people are now adults who are talking to children who are like, you got to go to school because that's what they say. But you don't really need this educational system because it's failed so many people. So people really don't believe that it's worth it, that they need it. But that's not our reality. Our reality is you need a little bit of education and a little bit of experience. You got to put all of that together. You can't forget education, but when the education doesn't feel quality and it doesn't feel like it's moving or I'm learning anything from it, then of course I don't want to be. So I think it's important for people to get involved and engage in this conversation and get to the tables and get in the rooms and share their experiences, because it will help someone else be able to maybe let the light bulb come on and say, you know what, maybe we should try this a different way. Maybe just because you think a child is unable to do it, maybe you need to open up a door and let them become this person. But we need the people in the room to have the discussion. We can't do it in silos. And so the more people that are there, the more information that we can collect, and we can try to synthesize and figure out how to make it better. Because right now, the people who are talking are career folks when it comes to education. Many of them make decisions based off what they've done for the last 25, 30 years is just not working anymore. And so we have to start asking questions. When you ask young people about their experience, for those that are maybe 1-2 years out of high school, they'll tell you that this is what's missing. Culture is missing. Diversity is missing. I had a student say yesterday that for her, what was missing from her educational experience was experience. She's like, you know, I remember learning about the Liberty Bell and then learning that it was right in Philadelphia, but I never took a field trip to the Liberty Bell. What happened to us giving experiences to children? And so I think getting more adults into the room, more community members, not just parents, because parents are important, but there's grandparents, there's aunts, there's uncles, there's cousins, there's coaches. All of these people are involved in educating our children. And we have those programs. Parents are the first teachers. You're definitely the first. And so we want all of you to come because we all help educate children in some sort of way or fashion, and we can help inform what's happening. Why does it matter? Why is our voice important? Because for too long, we didn't have a voice. For too long, we were silenced. For too long, what we wanted and what we thought was not important here in the city of Wilmington. And at this point, enough is enough. Enough of us are tired. If nothing else, I'm tired. I'm tired of watching children light get dimmed in education. I've watched new kindergartners walk into the school and they were bright and ready to go and running and loving the whole educational experience. And one bad educator standing in front of them has then dimmed their light. And now this child that I knew in kindergarten that loved school is now in second grade. And he's just, yeah, I'm over and I don't want to go back. And it's so important for us all to get involved because we don't want lights to get dimmed. I remember being a student going to school and being excited. I don't see that excitement every single day anymore. And so now we have to fully get invested in our children and fully get invested in their educational experiences so that we can bring light back to education. It used to matter to go to school. It used to be so important. And now we don't even make that an important factor. We have people now saying, my child needs a mental health day, so we're going to take a vacation for 4 and 5 days. Oh, what kind of thing is that? I want children to have experiences, but does it need to happen in the middle of a school week? But this is, we put less priority or less priority into education and more into our mental health, saying that this is the most important thing. But why can't we combine both worlds? Because that's what it was when I was growing up. And so I think we're missing that piece. And so voices need to come back to the table to push what we know was quality at one point in time. Education was most important. And I still think it is, because without some sort of education, additional training or something of that sort, you're not making it in this world. You can go and tread your own way around the world, but you still need some additional educational experiences in order to be able to make it.